Hi, I'm Sharon Fridge, and welcome to the greatest stories ever told. Welcome back to another month of home groups as we take a dive into the parables of Jesus. These are truly the greatest stories ever told, and if we will allow ourselves to study these parables, we will learn some of the greatest truths about life. This month, we're studying the parable of the unforgiving servant. This parable begins with Peter asking the simple question, how many times we need to forgive others? Jesus, right before, was teaching his disciples how to find forgiveness with someone. In Matthew 18:15, it says, if your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault, just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. Peter, in light of what Jesus had said about agreement, unity, and forgiveness in the verses before the parable, hoped to sound extremely loving by suggesting forgiving a repentant brother or sister up to 7 times, when the Jewish rabbis of that time were teaching the acceptable amount of forgiveness for someone was only 3 times. Peter thought he was going above and beyond with his forgiveness of others. However, Jesus' answer was not what he was expecting. Jesus replies that we are to forgive 70 times 7, not to imply we're only supposed to forgive 490 times, but we should forgive an insurmountable amount of times. The forgiveness of others should not have a limit because God does not have a limit. Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ God forgave you. Many psychologists have done studies throughout the years on the human brain, emotions, and thought processes. One such conclusion they have noticed when studying people is that those who deal with being critical and unforgiving of others are usually a guilt-prone person. People who struggle with guilt feelings are usually critical of others, and they tend to harbor resentment, meaning the extent of which we judge ourselves out of fear and shame, we will also judge others. However, on the other hand, the more we take in the full extent of God's grace and forgiveness, the more we are released from our fears and become free to extend grace to others. Luke 6:36 says this, be merciful just as your Father is merciful. Jesus' mercy that we take part in every day should spur us to mercy and forgiveness of others. There's no shortage of his mercy for us. In the parable of the unforgiving servant, Jesus is teaching his disciples and us that forgiveness should be in like proportion to the amount of forgiveness. The first servant had been forgiven all his debts, and then he should have forgiven all the ones that were indebted unto him. In the same manner, a child of God by faith through Christ has had all sins forgiven because of the sacrifice of Jesus. Therefore, when someone offends or sins against us, we should be willing to forgive them from a heart of gratitude for the grace to which we ourselves are debtors. With your small group, you will discuss how God has forgiven you, how we should be spurred to forgiveness of others, and how to walk out a daily life that extends grace and mercy to others. Let's grow together.